you ready?
Hello everybody out in Heroclix land. Welcome back to Talkn Clix. As always, I'm your host, Wespool. With me is my faithful partner, Scott Johnson & Johnson. And our special guest tonight is Matt Scuba Pete Peterson.
Scott and Wes, thanks for having me on tonight. I'm not entirely sure why you want to interview me, but here I am, and I'm happy to be a part of your show. So thank you very much.
Well, I listen to you every week on your Sweatshop podcast, so I feel like you're a celebrity in the Heroclix world, so I'm happy to talk to you.
Yeah, on that note, Wes, I'm going to give you guys an insight into the studio here at Casa de Peterson, where the sweatshop happens every week, and it's just good old Midwesterner's garage. As you can see, there's a cornhole board and a door over there, and a bunch of other half-finished projects. So classic Midwesterner's garage. But this is where the magic happens for D Generation Clicks.
Awesome. For my listeners, I'm going to try to do my best to edit this, but there is a weird 2-second delay between Pete and us. So if there's weird, awkward pauses, he's not slow, the internet's slow. So, so gentlemen, how's your week been? What you guys do this week?
I've just been working, honestly. We did the podcast on Tuesday nights as we always do. I played Clix on Monday, which is great. And just kind of trying to get through the work week and everything, get to the weekend to get some stuff done out in the yard. Here in Wisconsin, it's decided to be fall, even though it's spring and it's rained basically every day. So my grass is about 2.5 foot tall, so I'm gonna have to deal with that at some point. So yeah.
So Wisconsin, and you play Mondays, you say?
We do. Yeah, we play Mondays here in Kenosha at Coliseum Games. We have a great local community. I think this past Monday we had a Chase Booster event, which was theme builds. And so we had probably like 12 or 13 people show up, which is pretty good on a Monday night. So
So you did
Yeah,
not make
that's
it down to H4H with Dan, right?
I did not. No, unfortunately, could not swing it this year with work responsibilities. Turns out sometimes being an adult is kind of a pain in the butt. So
What
I
is your day
understand
job?
that.
I'm sorry.
What is your day job?
I actually work for Kentucky Fried Chicken. I sell biscuits and gravy all across the Northwest. No, I'm just kidding. I work in medicine. I'm a physician assistant. I work in interventional pulmonology and critical care. I started my work life as a PA in the ER, so I've been in medicine for a long, long time, which is why the beard is so gray now at this point. So, yeah.
Being in the medical profession, first of all, thank you for everything you do. But what was 2020 to 2023 like for you? Be on that side of the medical profession, what was COVID like for you?
So during COVID, I was in the emergency department, and it was a very interesting time. We were learning on the fly. We were treating a virus that in a certain population is absolutely devastating. And now that have transitioned to pulmonology, which is just basically taking care of patients with lung issues, asthma, COPD, interstitial lung disease, things like that from COVID, it's still kind of been a nice transition for me. I still see a lot of post-COVID patients because of just how devastating the virus was to certain populations. But during that time period, it was intense. It was a lot of things that I'll be honest with you, I never need to see a global pandemic in my career again. I'd be perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, before we started recording, we were just BSing with each other, and Pete mentioned that he used to serve in the military, and he never served during wartime. He just served during peacetime, got his GI Bill, and got out. And he was talking about how he doesn't really feel like that was worthy of much praise. But serving as a medical professional during COVID, I feel like more than compensates for that.
Yes.
So I was a lifetime ago, right? So my time in the army at the time was not any interest in medical profession. I was actually a mechanic, and I figured out based on the amount of CV joints I replaced on the old Deuce and a Half that I did not want to be a mechanic. So it kind of drove me to somewhere else. But I am always grateful to my time in the military. I was a very young man when I went in, and I needed a lot of discipline and a lot of direction, and it helped provide me that. It also helped provide me with a nice GI Bill, and they take care of me. I go and I salute my mailbox once a month, and there's a little bit of money in there from Uncle Sam, so it's not too bad of a deal. So,
Nice. What you got, Scott?
You got any nicknames we should know about?
Pete's the only nickname, and it's not really that creative a nickname. My name's Matt Peterson. But growing up, it always got shortened to Peterson. It's the old like gym class seventh grade thing of like everybody got called by their last name, and then eventually it just became Pete. So anybody that knows me is just Pete. So as my friends in that, it's kind of funny because when my wife and I started dating, she knew me as Pete. So I think it was probably our fourth date. She said, "I have a question for you," and I said, "Well, what is it? Right? We've been out 3 times. Like you can ask me whatever you want at this point, within reason." And she said, "Is your name really Pete Peterson?" I said, "No, nobody's naming their kid Pete Peterson. My first name is Matt." And so she was like, "Oh, thank God. I thought I was dating somebody named Pete Peterson." I was like, "No, Pete's just a nickname. So if you know me for any amount of time, it gets shortened to Pete." So
So you didn't have a nickname in the military?
it was Pete. That was it. It always became
Yes.
Pete somewhere.
Well, I've
Yeah. I
heard.
told my son, so my dad was Pete. His dad was my grandfather was Pete. I said, eventually my son's name's Logan. You'll become Pete too to your friends. It's just what's happens. So
I've heard the name Scuba Pete quite often on the Generation Clix.
Scuba Pete's the thing. We got to figure it out. He was supposed to help Aquamiles, but that guy's been gone for a long time. So I don't know what happened to him. Maybe Scuba Pete needs to go investigate.
Um, how does it feel to be the funniest person on your podcast?
I appreciate that. We have some great personalities on our podcast. I think it works really well because at the core of it, we're just friends, right? And so Miles and I have kind of a similar, like our minds just start running and going, and now we're down a rabbit hole. But I think Redmond, Dan, Miles are all just as equally as entertaining. But I appreciate the compliment. Yeah,
I'm
I actually
usually
provide nothing of value other than the sense of humor. So
I'm usually driving when I'm listening to you, and I have the little ear pods in, and I'll just randomly laugh out loud. My wife looks over at me like, "You realize you sound crazy, right? You're laughing at nothing."
I mean,
that's awesome.
sometimes it's good to
I'm
laugh
glad to
at
hear it. I'm
nothing.
glad you enjoy it. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
I
It's
like
good.
the show
Laughter is
too.
good for the soul. Thank you very much. It's not something honestly I ever pictured in a million years doing. I was on like one episode of Clix in it with Adam and them when we did like a draft thing, and I thought it was fine. I didn't anything past like it was fun to do, but Redmond is really taking this baby and Miles and Dan and him kind of put together, and Redmond was finally like, "Listen, we'll make a spot for you if you want to be on and commit to it." So I told him I would do it at a part-time basis, and now I'm part of the sweatshop every week. So
Nice.
So the sweatshop. If y'all are recording a 3-hour episode, and how long are y'all actually recording? Like 5, 6 hours?
it's a good question. So we'll start at 8:30 our time, and I call it the pre-show fist fight, where we discuss everything we're gonna do or not do, and then we start generally probably about 9. And on good episodes, we get done at 11:30, and on other episodes, you can kind of tell by the end how long they are because we're pretty slap happy by 1 a.m. So it's a good few hours. It's honestly, what is it though at the core is like it's just me talking to my friends. So it's all good.
I mean, it sounds like just a bunch of friends talking clicks, which is awesome.
Maybe we should
Yeah.
try that, Scott. Maybe we should actually prepare a little bit for the episode instead of just hitting record and talking.
Look, I'm trying to get some scheduling going on here, so we're working on it. We're working our way.
I will I will say as far as like anything outside of just showing up is not my department. Like I'm in charge of the Bookwood report, and that's basically it. And really, that's not even something I do. He just lets me know what he bought that week, so it's all good.
Oh, Bookwood does the legwork. You just report it.
Yeah, yeah. I keep everybody involved in what's going on in our favorite local tryhard's life. So
Well, in the professional entertainment industry, there's this thing called a transition. And what you just said is a perfect transition into the community questions because you talked about the book report. So
hmm
earlier I posted that we were going to be talking to you on the Discord. So all these questions are coming from the Discord. And someone asked, how did the idea for the book report come to be, and how against it was Redmond, and where did the name Pete come from?
All right, so we covered where the name Pete come from, and it's not really all that complicated. Somebody just shortened my last name. So, the Bookwood Report, how did it come about? We were looking for like things for, I would say like segments, and I was like, hey man, like Bookwood's always telling me what he bought or what he's doing this week, and we're always giving him crap anyway. Like, let's just do the Bookwood Report. And Revin was like, what does that mean? And I'm like, I'm just gonna get a list from him what he bought that week, and I'll read it like a newscast, and we'll just do it for a couple weeks, and we'll just have some fun with it and be done with it. And then it blew up. Like people liked it. Like it was surprising to us when, and Redmond hated it when it was our most popular segment was the Bookwood Report. But I think it's good because if anybody's talked to Bookwood, and he's really a pretty gregarious, intelligent, thoughtful, self-deprecating guy. So he kind of gets the whole thing, and he's really embraced it too. Like he's always telling me what he's buying, and like things like iPhones and stuff have made the Bookwood report just because sometimes there's just not a good Bookwood week for degenerate Clix purchases.
Do you think it's Bookwood what he's buying that people are entertained by it, or is it your dry, sarcastic delivery that makes it so entertaining?
Yes.
I think it's probably a little bit of both. Anybody that knows me knows that I've got a pretty dry sense of humor. I have a pretty flat affect, so it takes if you get my sense of humor, you like it. If you're the target of it and you don't get it, it feels kind of rough because I'm a pretty big ball buster, as you guys have probably picked up on the podcast about Redmond and I taking shots at each other. But it's I think it's a little bit of fun of both. I think it's the inclusion, right? Like part of the thing with Heroclix is like why do we play it, right? So it's the community of a bunch of people that love comics, love games, like to have a good time, and you put them all together, and then like you're never sure of like, am I spending enough? Am I spending too much? And Bookwood, he has no shame in what he spends on Heroclix, so I felt like it should be celebrated.
I applaud you, sir. And
Yes.
Thank you.
Bookwood too. I feel like Bookwood has become a pseudo celebrity because of it.
Yeah.
It, it's pretty great when you see him on the sales post chasing something down, and somebody posts something like, "Oh, great, we're getting spoilers for the Bookwood report already." So it's
Exactly.
it's a compliment to the community for paying attention, right? And it's good. It's just good. It's just fun. I mean, at the core of what we try to do on the podcast and all the incredible stuff that Redmond does from the videos and Miles has done is just like just have fun and like just enjoy a hobby together, with the people that enjoy it with us.
At the end of the year, you guys did a survey of a bunch of different things, and one of those was what was the most popular segment, and the Bookwood Report by far blew away everything else on the. How did you and Redmond and how did everybody feel about that? Were you surprised?
We were all surprised. I kind of took a victory lap from it, because it was my idea and Redmond wanted to cut it immediately. And Redmond just still to this day, he's like, I don't get it. And I'm like, sometimes you just don't get it, right? It's like the viral thing of like, the ice bucket challenge and all this nonsense that goes around social media. Like people just like it. It's fine. Just let them like it.
You never know what people like.
Right.
And somebody else asked, who is your favorite character and favorite piece of that character?
Ooh, that's a good question. Who's my favorite character? I can give you a list. I mean, that's probably what it's going to end up being. So I'm a big comic reader. So I can give you probably several ones. So I'll just kind of start going down them. You guys tell me to be quiet when you're done with this part. From Clix and my favorite characters, I love Black Panther. I think T'Challa is a wonderful character. I think it's well written. I think the whole idea of Wakanda is just fantastic. I think it's an interesting version of you have a warrior king who also has to be a hero and the scientific leader of his community. So I've just always been gravitated towards the character, and he carries the burden of lineage, right? Like it's not just T'Challa; he carries his forefathers, T'Chaka, and all the other great leaders that came before him that kept their country safe in a very volatile world in the Marvel universe, protecting vibranium. My favorite Black Panther piece is from Battle Worlds, and that's the Gauntlet Panther, who I've been very vocal that needs a legacy card. So, Wizkids, if you're
Yes.
listening, give me my legacy Panther card. Another favorite one, Spider-Man. I mean, Spider-Man's a quintessential comic book hero, right? No matter what, the odds are stacked against him, and he has great power, and he also carries great responsibility. So no matter what, at the end of the day, Peter Parker tries to do the right thing, and that's why we love him, right? Like he's odds are stacked against him. He's got to do the thing, and Peter's never going to put himself in front of other people. And they had a piece from, I want to say it was AV60. It was a 200 point Spider-Man, and that one felt the most like any Spider-Man should have ever been played wise. I wasn't happy with the point cost, but the whole dial and the speed powers and everything else was awesome. My last Marvel piece would probably be Doctor Doom. I would argue that while Doom has been represented as a villain in comics, he's never really truly been a villain. Like if you look at him from when he came out in Fantastic Four, sure, like he's the ex-roommate of Reed Richards and he's the bad narcissistic guy, but what has really Doom been trying to do the whole time? He's been trying to save his mom and protect his people in Latveria. And there's one piece that's not a great Doctor Doom, but is a super fun piece, and it came from the storyline of Organized Play from Fantastic Four, where it was him when he had the Excalibur sword infused into his armor. It was 100 points. And Redmond and everybody around here can tell you how many times I played that piece. It's just wild D6 fun. Like you can give him giant reach, you can make him have instant rollouts, you can heal him. Like it's just a great 100 point attacker piece with no range. So you got to get up and kind of commit yourself to dealing with Doom. From DC, Mr. Terrific. I just love that version of Mr. Terrific. Not Terry Sloan, but Michael. And I just think he's a very underrated character. I think he's very overlooked a lot of times as far as in DC Comics about what he brought to the table during JSA running that. And my favorite version of him would be the 100 point release day, or not 100 point, the number 100 release day figure from Rebirth that took the rule of three and turns into the rule of one for fair play. And then other than that, probably Black Adam. Black Adam has had great figures, but my favorite Black Adam of all time was the Prime, also from Rebirth. That guy was an absolute beast at 100 points, where he could free place by rolling the dice. He had senses traded, and at that time during Clix, we were still playing with a lot of ID cards, so he was a great ID card call-in battery during competitive too.
Yes, yes, he was.
So you said
Wes
that.
doesn't know about that stuff.
Well, I know a little bit about some of those. I got a couple of those. You said your Spider Man is Peter.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I do actually also like the Superior Spider-Man, the Octavius version, because it was a great way of the writer to look at like why is Octavius a villain and why isn't Peter? And it really kind of just came down to they're very similar intellectually and everything else, and it was their upbringing, their family, like their support. Like Otto had such a terrible life, right? And an abusive parent and an abusive father, and it changed him. And whereas even though Peter had such a tragedy of losing his parents, he had May and Ben. And so those both of those versions, that opposite side of that coin, is really something that's pretty I thought was just wonderful writing. I love the Superior Spider-Man run in comics. And if you haven't read it, you probably should. And I'm sorry if there's spoilers, but it's been out for a long time. But it came down to the fact that at the end, Otto realized that he just simply wasn't Peter. So he could never be the hero Peter was.
Now you did answer something wrong. Your favorite Spider Man.
What's that?
Your favorite Spider Man is the Time Dilation Spider Man from War of the Realms.
He's a good one, Wes. I've played him a couple times and he's annoying. We played a monthly game, and literally the only reason Dan went out with it is because he killed himself. It happened to be like a certain card was up or something because like we just could not hit him. And it was if somebody can make it work, I'd love to see it. It's something that I've played, but I've just never been able to make to work. Because
Well,
once you have a couple outwits, he just gets chewed through.
I'm on a mission, so
PlayStation Spider-Man. PlayStation Spider-Man was better, in my mind.
That's a great one.
yep.
That's a great one. And that was a great game too. So on top of Heroclix, I do play some video games too, but the PlayStation Spider-Man's a great representation of him. And use I think still viable now and even in silver and stuff. There's some of these that like you're just not going to put on a table in a competitive event.
So the last community question was from some degenerate named Hollywood Miles. I don't know if you know him.
Oh boy.
A
Yeah,
little,
buckle up.
a little known fact, since you are too humble to talk about it, is your IQ of 186. As a fellow member of Mensa, what were you able to get with your membership, and why was it the dreidel?
The dreidel.
God bless Miles. I'm not. I'm actually not a member of Mensa. My IQ is not 186. My so that's funny. Mensa's a funny conversation in our house. So I've never taken the test. So it's like a thing you can take a test and you would join this group
Yeah,
that essentially like you just are there. And
genius. You're a
so I
genius.
asked, yeah, I asked my wife if she took it, and I think she did at one point, but I never bothered to. Because honestly, it's not like my IQ is like 86, not 186. He transposed the number somewhere. But why would it be the dreidel? Because I don't have a number on my dice above four. And so the dreidel's a four-sided top, so it goes one, two, three, four. That's it. There's no five or six in my dice if you've ever played me.
So Mensa has an IQ challenge that you can go and take. It's like a 20. It's a 35 question test that's 25 minutes long, and it starts off. It's just a pattern recognition test. It starts off really really easy, and then by the end of it, you're like, oh my gosh, my brain is coming out my nose and my ears. So I challenge anyone to go take it. I scored a 131, so that
Wow.
was nice. Yeah,
Nice.
my 12-year-old scored a 98. So I mean, it's not hard to get up to 100. So at least I don't think so.
I probably get
Well,
my name wrong.
listen. Yeah, you could have the Talking Clicks Mensa challenge. Have people take it and post their scores. I think you got some
Yeah, I mean
content here, boys.
it's totally free, so go for it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, how far back do you go with the other guys on the show?
Miles, I'll go through them individually. Redmond and I have known each other for years. Like Redmond and I actually worked together when we were both in college, and so I went back to college I'm a little older than him, about 5 or 6 years older. So we worked at Circuit City together for a couple weeks. Redmond actually was on his way out while I was on my way in. And at first, when I met him, I actually really didn't care much for him at all. I just didn't like we just didn't click. And so through mutual friends at Circuit City, rest in peace, great place to work. Was We got to know each other more and more. And Redmond and my wife Amber and his wife Christine are all friends outside of just HeroClix and the podcast and everything else. And we've gone on vacations and stuff together. And I've known him for, oh man, let me think about this, probably 13 or 14 years at this point. So which just tells you that we're old. As far as Dan and I actually, he would come from Milwaukee to play at Kenosha back before we were at Coliseum. We were at a place called Rockheads Comics, which is kind of the big store in Wisconsin at the time. So we would hold like the rock events and that. And so I played Dan a couple of times back during like Avengers Infinity and stuff. And so that's kind of how I met Dan initially. I met Miles on a trip to the Pacific Northwest, and I had never talked to Miles until Redmond was like, "Well, if you're going to go out there, you need a partner for the 2v2." And this guy named Miles Kane he needs a partner, so I'll just hook you guys up. And I was like, "Sure." And Miles and I started messaging, and it was a bromance at first. And Miles, you ever meet him, you expect him to be, and you're never disappointed. So the first time I met him, he talks to me how he been from Oregon into where he lives into where we were playing in Portland, and he'd been up since 2 a.m. and he's just banging down heaters and just talking 100 miles a minute. And we did pretty well that day. I actually let him down in the last round for us to move on in top eight. So that's how I know all those guys. So it's been a few years for at least all of them.
Did you
So
watch the Miles Kane episode of Talking Clicks?
I did. I
What
did.
What was
And
your take
I
on that?
appreciated Miles' candor. I appreciate Miles' candor at the beginning. Miles is just there for you. Like he's just a great guy. He's got a huge heart. And I enjoyed all the other stuff as it started to become and turn around and from the more serious beginning to more of the just fun kind of Miles thing towards the end of him talking about how he goes about not only team building, but how he just kind of functions with all the stuff that he deals with on a day-to-day basis. So it was a great episode. Honestly, kudos to you guys.
Now, you
wasn't here.
go ahead, Scott.
That I wasn't here for that. I mean, I watched it and I thought it was a great episode.
Well, that's why it was a great episode.
I
You weren't
really
here.
wanted. I know, right? I really wanted to be there for it, but I mean, I've reached out to him since then, and I'm like, all right, thanks for being on the show, and like, I am really impressed with what he has to deal with mentally every day, and then
Yeah.
the way that he presents himself is just it's so strong. It does you wouldn't even think that about him. So
Now, at the top of the
And
show,
Miles is
go ahead.
Miles will give you the shirt off his back. Like you talk about great people, like he truly is one. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Wes. Go
No,
ahead.
you're good. I was just going to say, at the top of the show, you kind of were like, "Why would you want to talk to me?" Um, there's a number of reasons. When I first started this venture, and I brought in Scott, we wanted to get to know all the players from the top down, and we did not want to copy paste what every other show is doing. A lot of the, no offense to you, but a lot of the shows tend to be rinse and repeat, and we wanted to do something a little different. Not just talk about the meta, not just talk about what the new set is. We wanted to talk to the players and get to know the heroes of Heroclix. So that's been a big part of it. We not just the Lucas and the Scott Porters of the game, but the newest people all the way down. And we also wanted to reach a new audience. And Michael Straight is one of our most popular episodes, but he's not a well-known player. But Scott reached out to him, and Scott, can you talk a little bit about what Michael told you?
yeah, well, I'm in one of their group chats for their locals in Victoria, Texas, and the chatter in that group after he was on that episode has exploded. Like they have like three new players coming in. They were training today. It's just like lit a fire underneath Michael to try and generate more for the game. And it's I don't know if it was the show or just the people, but it just seems like it was a stepping stone for him to be like, hey, we're gonna get this growing even more. So good job, Michael. Um, Good job for everyone that's listening to the show and watching the show. Hope y'all can take something out of it. I have another game for Casual Corner coming up this weekend, so working on editing now. It's going to be roulette, so I would like for people to start trying these out so I can get some feedback on them, telling me I'm trash or they're actually pretty fun.
Yeah, that's why I want to talk to you
I
because
want to
you
give you
are.
guys a big compliment. I want to give you guys a big compliment because your version of what you're doing is completely unique. And you're right. Like I like that. I'm gonna steal that now. If the heroes of HeroClix is actually the players, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I kind of thought of that just today when I was. I've been trying to think of a cool tagline for Red, White, and Clicks, and I started to think about it for the heroes of HeroClix for Red, White, and Clicks. But if felt more apt for this because you, the player, is what makes this game fun. And you're who we want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of talk on the podcast about there's been some discussion about like casual versus meta or this or that. And really, I think what we've kind of learned as we've gone through it together is that really what we say in every format is we just want you to have fun, right? You're giving your time, you're giving your money, you're coming to an event or you're just showing up on a Monday night. And we don't want you to leave and feel like, man, why did I do that? Like, why did I give up 2 to 3 hours of my life for something that just wasn't fun because you had a bad interaction? So I think it's awesome that you're highlighting the positivity of the community and the heroes of the community who are the Clix players. I mean, we came off of Heroclix for Huntington's, right? So huge community win, $66,000 for a great charity. Like, so we've got an awesome community and you guys are doing a great job of helping to build the very positive parts of the community, which is not something that everybody wants to do. So kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've been kind of still in the show here, Scott. Do you have some questions for him?
I mean, I always have questions. So if Pete and Repeat are sitting on a wall, have you ever taken a hiatus from the game?
No, pretty much since we came in, our first set that we bought that was a new set was probably Avengers Infinity. And I pretty much have been in it. I don't play as consistently as the other guys. Like if you ask me like who's the worst player in the podcast, it's me by a pretty large margin. But like Dan and Miles and Redman are very, very consistent and good players. Due to work obligations and life obligations, I'll sometimes disappear for half a month on Monday nights or other events, but never taken a break from the game, no.
Congratulations. It's hard to keep it going. I mean, I travel for work sometimes, and I will take my Clix with me and play by myself if I have to. Just so I can keep playing because I love the game. So
Yeah,
Monday,
it's a great game.
so y'all play Mondays. Is it like 2 hours, 3 hours? Y'all do a Swiss?
Uh, Monday night, it depends on the event, but it's typically Swiss, so at least 3 hours. So. And then we also do have the benefit of once a month where Rebin puts on the monthly game for our local play group and whoever wants to join. And so that's kind of our last man standing battle royal thing that he's kind of invented and curated. And that's honestly the most fun I have in it. And then I do try to travel as much as I can for Heroclix, but I probably get to 2 or 3 big events per year. So like Adepticon was in our backyard. I'll definitely be at Worlds, and I'm going to do my best to make it to Red, White, and Clix and support an awesome cause.
I have a question that's not on my normal list. What is the term oofta?
Oofta?
Oofta.
It's like ope, like, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. Ope or oofta, that was a bad outcome. Like, well, we were trying to, do this, but oofta, it didn't happen, so yeah, it's
Surprised that I knew what a
it
Midwest
wasn't great,
term
but
was.
it's not the end of the world. Yeah, no, not at all, man. I loved it. Yeah. That's a very Midwest turn and very North Midwest. So up here in Wisconsin and Minnesota, you'll hear a lot of ooftas and opes. So
Do you play
know
euchre up
it.
in Wisconsin?
do I play anywhere else up in
Do you
Wisconsin?
play euchre?
Uh, Euchre? Oh yeah. No, we play Euchre. What's the terrible card game my wife loves to play because she beats the brakes off of me? It's not Euchre. I'll have to think about it and come back to you. There's like a board involved with it and some other stuff. Like it's so like she just destroys me. It's so not fun. I'll have to think of it.
Every
So
time I
yeah, I
talk
have
to
played
anybody
Euchre.
outside of Indiana and I say euchre, they look at me like I have a third eye. So it's a
I have no
it's a
idea
very
what it is.
Midwest game. It's a lot like spades.
Hey. Hey. What do Timon and Pumbaa order at Italian restaurants? The tuna piccata. Hey. Hey. Why should you never date a tennis player? Because love means nothing to them.
other than
Hmm.
Redmond's casual scenario that you'll play once a month, do you have another favorite type of scenario to play?
I really enjoy theme. So one of the fun parts of HeroClix is building like theme teams, right? Like you can mix your Marvel, DC, and whatever else you have. So I really like that. I really enjoy duos a lot, especially like we run at the Clix Mania. We ran the duos, the Silver Highlander duos theme, which was a super fun event. So you had to build with someone else, and you both had to take a keyword, and you couldn't repeat pieces. So there wasn't like a super overbearingly meta version of the team. So
Awesome. Are
Um,
you a better builder or a pilot?
oh, I'm not good really at either. I like to build. I'm a better builder than a pilot. But yeah, there's a lot of I piloting I so my version of clicks is I like to roll dice. Like I want to have attacks and have cool things happen and like let's just meet in the middle and roll dice and see what happens. And that's kind of how I play. I generally gravitate towards pretty aggressive teams because I just want to be in there and attacking people. So that's what's to me. I'm not a subtle player.
what was it like growing up going to the Christian life schools?
You're so good research, Wes. It was good. So actually, I was only at Christian Life part of my senior year, so that's where I graduated from, and so that's where I list as my high school. If I had to list all my high schools because we moved around so much, I'd actually have four or five. So yeah.
And how did you go from where is it? I lost it. You were selling. How'd you go from selling TVs at Best Buy to being a phlebotomist?
So so I'd like to describe as like very different lives, right? Like so there was the very young man that was in and out of the military, then got into sales for a long time, and I've sold, man, so many things. Like you name it, I've probably sold it. Cars, houses, electronics, whatever. And then the economy took a turn, and my daughter, who is actually I have an adult daughter, she's 19, she's going to be 20 this year. Her name's Adeline, and when she was born, I had to say, is this the kind of life? Like, am I going to be someone that she wakes up one day and says, you know what, that's my dad, right? Like, like, no matter what, like, I'm proud of him, right? And so I said to my wife, what do you think about going back to school? And she was in favor of it. So we kind of dropped everything and we went back to school. And so had always had a part-time job. So I sold a lot of electronics at Circuit City. Then that closed down. Then I went to Sears for a little bit. Then I went to Best Buy. And then in order to get into PA school, it's very competitive. And so you have to have patient care hours. And the easiest way to acquire them at the time for me was to be somewhere in the medical field, either like a certified nursing assistant or a phlebotomist. And the phlebotomist job just worked better for me because I could work nights and still be up and get my kids to school and then sleep and study and go back and do it again. And so that's how I ended up in the lab, which was the clinical lab, which is a great precursor to getting into physician assistant at the good old University of Wisconsin, the best college in all of the Midwest.
Nice.
That'll get you some fights there.
Yeah.
Who has more comics knowledge, you or Miles?
Oh, Miles, for sure, Miles. Most of my collection has like died to like multiple floods or moves over the years, or like when you're young and broke and you got a kid at home and you got to figure out how to pay for something. The really good ones got sold, right? So it's funny you ask because I actually just made a decision to kind of liquidate the rest of my collection because I hadn't looked at them in years. So they were just sitting in the old long boxes in the basement. Now I read quite a bit because on the digital formats you can read basically anything now. So I got together with a buddy of mine and we're kind of pricing them out and then put in new homes where people hopefully appreciate them more, other than living in my basement closet.
Um, what you got, Scott?
I don't know. You were touching on something in your story there that I'm like, I got a question about that, but no, it slipped my mind. So if you had 2d6 in front of you, what are you gonna get? A crit hit or a crit miss?
Oh, crit miss.
Okay,
Yeah, a crit miss, like no
if you had
doubt.
if you had 2d20s, could you get above a 12?
2d20s. No, I think I'd probably would. If you'd asked me what number I'd have picked, it'd have been an 11 or 12 on 2d20s.
Is there
Um,
a proper way to open a HeroClix booster?
ooh.
Oh, absolutely. You take the top, you tear it off, you take the tape and the whole thing off, you slide it out, you look at what you got, you slide it back in, you put it back where you just got it from, and you move on to the next one. Because you can never open just one boost, right?
Why the top?
Mm-hmm.
Why the top? Why? There's two pieces of tape there.
Well, you got to take the whole thing off, and then you get your nice little pile of garbage, and you get rid of everything.
So it's a
Yeah,
degenerate way to open it.
absolutely. I mean, I've seen people open it from the bottom. I think the most degenerate way is down the side, but I've never tried that. So
So since you are a medical professional, where exactly is the funny bone?
So it's attached to the ulnar nerve. So it's it's in the ulnar nerve, which is near your elbow. So that's actually your funny bone. It's not actually a fun. It's not a bone, but it
It's not
hurts.
fun either.
No, never.
Do you ever try to get your coworkers to play HeroClix?
So it's funny. I've had interest. So one of we train pulmonary fellows, right? So we train. I help train doctors and stuff. They're part of our program, and so one of them one day was they walked into my office when I was finishing up something, and I had some stuff up for like clicks on like eBay or something I was bidding on. I don't even remember. And so one of them started asking me what it was, and I told them to mind their own business. And so then they kind of like reversed engineered me and figured out that I was playing this game and on a podcast. And so they come back in the next day and they're like, "Is this you on this podcast?" And I'm like, "It is. And if it makes it out around here, the rest of your fellowship's going to get really interesting. I'm just telling you." So I've never actually had them play. I've had interest, and some of the physicians and other people I work with have talked about coming on Mondays, but nobody's ever actually committed to it. So
Okay, I remember my question. How does your wife feel about you going further down this rabbit hole from playing a game to getting competitive to joining a podcast?
So my wife could care less about HeroClix or comics or any of that. Like she'll watch the movies. She's very tolerant of our hobbies. We have a great relationship, but she has zero interest in it. Like she'll ask me like when I come home with like a new piece or something, like, "Oh, how did Monday night go?" or "How did it go?" or "Excited about this one." But past that, she has zero interest in playing the game, which would be
So you
it's terrible because she'd be really good at it. It's the problem,
so
and then she'd probably beat the brakes off me.
you come home and she's like, "Oh, how'd it go?" You'd be like, "Oh, I lost," and then she calls you a loser like my wife does.
Yeah. Well, she just starts with it. She's like, "I assume you just lost, like you always do, and you brought great shame to this family." And I agree with her because it's true.
Yeah, it's very rare that I'll come home and say, "I won, I won." It's,
How did you
it's
meet
I
usually
your?
I
understand that
come end
pain,
up being a
man.
loser.
How did I meet my wife?
Yeah.
At a bar. So, my wife was a bartender in a small town in Kansas actually, and I was there because I had gotten moved there for a job, and I didn't know anybody, and so the bar life here in Wisconsin is very different. Like it's just kind of a neighborhood gathering place. You go in, people go in every night of the week. So I just happened to pick this place and I went in and I thought she was super cute. And first time I talked to her, I walked in and I ordered a Miller Lite and she gave me my Miller Lite and she said, "Well, just so you know, I have a boyfriend." And I said, "That's phenomenal. I just wanted my Miller Lite. Thank you so much." And then from there, I kind of wore her down over the course of time until eventually she kind of said to one of my buddies, like, I don't understand why he's not asking me out. Like I've made it very obvious I'm interested in him. But I'm kind of dense when it comes to women. I always have been. So she had to make it super like obvious, and ask my buddy about it. And then from there, it was just we've got 20 years of marriage now. Yeah.
Wow,
So
congratulations.
it's been a great relationship. So thank you.
Would you say you're more aggressive or defensive in your play style?
I would say more aggressive. I mean, I want to see points scored. Every time I try to I feel like on a defensive shell through things like the emotional modifier and that, like where I look at a 19 and I'm like, well, I'm never hitting that. But other players like a 19, sure, man, I can hit a 33. It doesn't matter to me. So I've always erred on the side of aggression. So I think a good defense is early offense. Go up on points and see what happens.
Um,
Crit hits auto.
Go ahead.
Crit hit's a hit. Said a crit hit is an auto hit, so doesn't matter what the defense is.
That's it.
Ask the Scott Crampton Pog.
It's always a dice game. No matter what your plan is, at the end of the day, it's always a dice game. So there's always that level of like chance in the whole thing. So
Um, God, I forgot what I was going to say. Um, what do you got, Scott?
Um, what color was the dress?
Yeah, there you
the
You
one
don't
I
know the
wore or the
dress.
one my wife wore?
Either or. I mean, I was talking about the internet dress.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you're talking about the blue or the white thing? Was it blue or white?
Yeah, yeah. I'm still bringing that back
Yeah, okay. All right.
12 years
So
later.
that's all good. So I'll tell you something. I'm actually incredibly colorblind, which pisses Redmond off all the time because he constantly thinks I'm trying to cheat him. Because it gets really bad on certain defensive powers. Like I never know if my pieces have toughness or combat reflexes. And I'm like, Redmond, what is? And if it's like on the same piece, like on clicks that are next to each other, forget it. I just have to ask whoever's playing me. So I think people over time have thought I was messing with them, but I'm honestly, truly just asking, like, dude, is that toughness or combat reflexes? Because it probably matters to you. So
And on
yeah,
the card now, you can just look at the card.
that's true. And it's gotten a lot easier since you can look at the card. If you go to old carded figures where they're not like lined up
Oh,
well, ah
no.
man, there's been so many times where somebody's been like, I don't think you have that power anymore. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I don't, but I couldn't tell by the dial. And forget Battle Worlds because those colors on that dial were
Oh, they
terrible.
were
So
horrible.
that one's just like, yeah, that one's just like, forget it.
So, you guys are known for your rather long, lengthy episodes. Um, what is it about that you think keeps people interested for that amount of time?
Ooh, that's a good question because I honestly, there's some times where I'm not really sure why anybody's listening to anything past the first 5 minutes, but I think it's just the camaraderie. Honestly, I think it's the you know we have fun. Like honestly, we have fun. It's not there's nothing forced about it. Like they'll go deep dives into meta. We'll offer opinions on things, and mine are classically wrong all the time, but we'll offer it up. But it's when we get into the time where we kind of go down the rabbit hole or we go off to the left or like one of us cracks the other one up and we just find something funny and that's where we get going and that's where it's like hanging out with your buddies and stuff.
I get
Yeah, I think
talking too
it's
much, and sometimes Scott is like, "Hey man, I gotta put my kid to bed." And like, sorry man, go ahead, go.
no, you don't get that bad. I feel like their episodes is just a bunch of guys talking about life, and you can feel that energy. So even though we're getting a 3.5 hour episode, and they're probably doing a 5.5 hour episode, it doesn't feel like it whenever we're doing it. I mean, if I'm driving, it's usually an hour plus wherever I'm going, and I'm like, oh hey, I got plenty more to listen on the ride home. Awesome.
That's awesome to hear, man. I mean, honestly, I have said many times, why do I do it? Because it entertains me. Like that's selfish. Like if it ever start to feel like an obligation, I think most of us would have a hard time committing to it, right? Because this is free time. Like Redmond has little kids, Miles has like 25 kids. Dan's Dan with that, but we all have other stuff that we'd be doing. and other obligations. So to be able to make that time to hang out together and to hear that other people like it, it's just mind blowing to me. Some of the best interactions I've had are when people recognize me by my voice or something. It just blows my mind because I'm like, I can't believe anybody's actually, you know? So it's awesome.
Yeah, your show was a big part of why I started this show, and Ryan has been kind of my mentor in starting it. I messaged him a couple weeks ago and said, "Do you ever just not feel like doing an episode? Just feel down, tired, have a long day, and don't want to do it?" But then the second you start talking about Clix with your friends, you just get super pumped up. He's like every week, man. And I do that here. Like I did that podcast, and then I hit record, and I just love talking to you guys and talking to Scott, and it really energizes me.
I mean, you had a long day yesterday with your hour and 45-minute preview of Red, White, and Clicks.
I felt so bad about that. I think I was shooting for an hour, and I just kept going.
I was trolling
Nah,
y'all
man,
trying to
that's
answer
great.
questions.
And then at the end,
Yeah, that's great.
when the last person signed off, and I was recording it through OBS Studio and then broadcasting it out to YouTube. So when the call ended, the screen went black, and I still had more to talk about.
Kept texting you. I'm like, keep going. It's just an audio now.
uh,
Nah,
so
it's good, man. You're passionate about a great event. Like you should. Like if you it that's it's an awesome event, right? Like so what's really interesting right now is we have this nice thing where we have both Wizkids doing these amazing events, right? And we have a lot of players that are actually causing and forcing these own amazing events. And I think that's great for the community because I think both WizKids learns from like what players are into, what they're attending, what they're willing to attend. And yours is a charity event. I mean, just much like Heroclix for Huntington's, right?
yeah,
So as a community, not only are you getting to do what you want to do, but you're also supporting a great cause. And so when I tell my wife, like, hey, listen, I've got to disappear for a weekend, but it's for charity. Yeah, I'm getting away with it a lot easier then than I am otherwise.
it does create a lot of roadblocks though that you wouldn't realize because it is a charity and because it represents the military, which creates a lot of barriers legally for their intellectual property licenses. So it really, I have to skirt the line a lot of times as far as what they are able to be associated with and what they're not. So what are, you said you only go to like two or three events. What are the ones that you absolutely cannot miss each year?
The big events I don't miss. Worlds. Worlds is just super fun. You get together with everybody. I've met so many people from across, even honestly, the whole world and the United States, and it just lets us get together. So that's one that I make every year. I think eventually my travel patterns will probably change a little bit, but we'll see. I'm definitely going to go to Worlds this year. The other ones, Adepticon's been great because it's local. So I've been to that in Schaumburg, Illinois, and in Milwaukee this past couple months. Other than that, kind of our local ones, Clix Mania, obviously, but that's literally in the town. It's like 6 blocks from where I am, so there's no reason to miss that. And I don't really think there's been a ton of other events. We did fly out to the Pacific Northwest for something out there, and that's how I met Miles. But that's probably about it, honestly. I'm very fortunate because of where Kenosha is between Milwaukee and Chicago. We have a lot of events, which I would consider local, like any of the Chicago events we can get to.
What is your specific uh, pattern to team building? Do you start with a figure that you want to put out there that you think, oh, this figure is awesome, and then you build around that? Or do you start with a general idea? Or how do you start with a team building process?
I generally build off my primes. Primes are keywords. That's really where I start. So whatever, if you're building in like modern meta, you look at your primes in the modern meta, and you kind of build out from there. And I'll generally build theme more than not, unless like currently the meta is not conducive to theme. You can make incredible non-theme teams with almost no loss. And with the sideline being what it is now, and Beetlejuice, you almost have to have Black Panther, Legacy Panther on your team just to limit what your opponent's trying to do to you. Because right now it's such a heavy Alpha Strike 1 to 2 turn game that you got to slow that down with things like rivalry and stuff like that. So Legacy Panther is almost a must play right now, in my opinion. But if you ask me how do I build normally, it's off my prime slot.
So, do you look at powers or stats? Which is more important for you?
Uh, Good question. Um, Probably stats, honestly. Like the first thing I look at are stats. Like there's certain pieces that I won't play because of the value. Like if I see a 10 on a dial, top dial for attack, I'm probably going to try to find something else that's at least an 11. A
Better be
9
a
is almost
support
a hard
piece.
no. Yeah, and a nine's like a hard no, unless it's doing something that's so unique or so key to what I'm trying to do with that team that I'm just going to be like, man, that's not going to work for me.
So what
Or it has
prime?
Sinister Syndicate.
What prime are you building with right now?
Well, so Colossus is going away. I built a lot with Colossus Prime. I mean, he's just phenomenal, 80 points. I dabbled a little bit with Blue Beetle. I really think there's something with Blue Beetle because in addition to just being able to erase a character, which is super cool, like you basically have a way to get around protected outwit, which is humongous in Heroclix always. Like your ability to affect your opponent's pieces, and there's nothing they can do about it is huge, which is why outwit is such an important power, right? But I'm leaning towards a new abomination. That piece is wildly fun, man. Super fun. Have you guys gotten to play it?
I have not.
I have not.
Oh, it's everything you want out of an abomination. It is just right in your face and just ready to fight.
So, a prime that I liked building with that I feel like has been overlooked because of the defensive capabilities is Domino Prime.
Mhm.
She can be taken out with poison or force blast, but other than that, she's a phenomenal figure.
She is. She's one of those where you kind of don't want to attack her at some point because you activate her, and then all of a sudden she's just blowing up your team. So you do have to protect her a little bit more. But I don't know that she'd make meta teams. Somebody could probably make it work, but
Right,
I
if
think
she
she's
had
super fun.
defensive power to reduce damage or something, then she would be phenomenal. But that ability to say, "Oh, you roll a d6, I'm going to roll one, two, and I'm going to pick the result."
So it's funny. I have played her because I people like we talk about Dan and his D6 rolls, right? Like Dan's shape change and super senses are just it doesn't make any mathematical sense how one guy's as consistent as he is. So like I'm like, well, this is a perfect piece for me because you're never gonna have a super sense because I don't roll fives or sixes, so it's gonna always miss for you. So I have played her. She's awesome. She's a very fun piece.
Scott, how are we doing on time for you? Are you okay?
Yeah, I got like 25 minutes still.
I don't want to be like Rudman. I don't want to
Well,
break you
look,
too hard.
tomorrow's the last day of school for the semester, so we're good. After today, I can run a
Yeah,
little
my
longer.
oh, your guys' schedule's different than ours. Are like my son's getting ready to. He's got like another month left. So
Well, my
A
daughter
month
is in
to get out
online
in
school.
June?
Yeah, they go to June because they got all those snow days in
yeah, they get out in
Wisconsin.
June. They don't start
Oh,
September though.
yeah. Ours start
Yes, they
in
do.
middle August.
Oh wow, yeah.
Now, my daughter did online school this year and absolutely loved it. She worked about a month ahead on her homework, and so she's essentially been done with school for 3 or 4 weeks. She just has to log in once a day to for attendance, and then she's done.
My son would love that because he would have all of his work done in an hour, and then he'd be pretty much on Marvel Rivals the rest of the day. But we still make him go.
Yeah.
So
Are you ready
Um,
for your Kevin lists?
yep. So you've seen the show. You know about the Clix questionnaire, yes?
yes,
It's a scientifically proven, in-depth, AI generated set of questions to really get to the heart and soul of a player. Like people know your name
Okay.
from the Heroclix, but they don't really know you, Pete. Are you going to be known by the community?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
All right. Uh, best sandwich.
Pastrami and the Swiss.
Swiss. Vanilla ice cream. What do you put on top?
Um, the old chocolate magic shell. Do you guys remember that?
Oh
When you poured
yeah,
it on
that's
there
the
and it
best.
hardened. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that's the
It's
best.
amazing. You can't beat that.
The
Peak humanity
Reese's
right
one is
there.
really good.
That's been the most
Okay.
popular
Okay.
answer, I think. I think at least half the people have said
Yeah.
that.
I'm still telling
Well,
you, if you get a wedge of
like
lemon and you put on it,
yeah,
it'll
Dairy
taste
Queen
a
and get
lot
the dip
different.
cones, right? Like it's the same thing.
Yes, I'm saying, get you a wedge of lemon and put on your ice cream. It'll change it.
What is your most
Okay.
proud moment in HeroClix so far?
My most proud moment in HeroClix is anytime I really annoy the crap out of Revan with the team. No, I'm just kidding. Probably my best finish is probably second in Iraq, back during a sealed event. But the last round was brutal, man. I got like crit hit energy exploded out of the gate. My team is just dead. But that was a pretty good day. So yeah.
You could say the book would report.
The book would report, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And on a book would report, like it's incredibly humbling to me that anybody actually listens to all of us idiots talk for 3 to 4 hours a week. So thank you for that, community. Sorry for that too, by the extension.
All right, so this is just between us because I know Redman and Miles don't watch this, so they'll never know what your answer is, okay? Who's your favorite content creator?
Oh man, that's a tough question. You know, content creators are like kids, Wes. You can't have a favorite one, even though you do, but you lie to all the other ones and tell them they're your favorite too,
Yep.
right? Yeah, that's my answer.
The other question that they will not know the actual answer to is the controversial Beetlejuice. Miles and Ryan have been very adamant about how they feel about it. Now that it's been out for a hot minute, are you a little softer on Beetlejuice or are you on the hate train with Miles?
I I understand the idea. I think if they would have errated it like Merlin or some of the other things, that it was not as oppressive. Like the problem inherently with Beetlejuice is main force are coming off the sideline is it's not just the free actions you can't take, it's the things you can't do. So you can't charge flurry, you can't running shot pulse wave, you can't running shot energy explosion, you can't run up and punch a wall. So you're not really playing HeroClix anymore. You're playing some other version of HeroClix that I've never really been a part of. Every version of Clix to me has included free actions. I don't have a problem limiting free actions. I thought Merlin was fine. I think the Wakanda Hulkbuster for the most part is fine because you still get, what you get. But I just think that's the biggest thing. Now, can you kill him? Yeah, you can easily kill him in modern. He's not hard to get through. But it's just for 100 points to just completely change another team. I think he's honestly worse than Silver. Like because that's more of a format to where there's just so much more that you can really break that 100 points of Beetlejuice than you can really in modern. So I'm not a fan of him. I have him on my sideline because you have to have him on your sideline to give people things to cheer Panther. I've never actually called him in, and I just don't actually like to play him, so I just don't. Love the movies, love the character, great movies, but I think it was a miss by them not changing it to make it more compatible with a game.
How would you feel about a player that got up on points early in the game, brings out Beetlejuice, and just keeps you from playing the rest of the game and wins on points?
I mean, it's a strategy, right? So it kind of depends on the event. Like doing that on a Monday night when I'm playing some fun like X Force team or something, I'm really gonna be like, dude, seriously, like, what are you doing? In a competitive event, I guess if that's how you want to play, it kind of falls on the other person to figure out how to get around it. What I think it's sporting, I don't know. It's something you can do, but would I personally do it? No. But if somebody did it, I wouldn't be super mad about it in a competitive environment. In a fun environment, I'd be kind of a lot, man. So I don't know what I made you mad about, but I'm sorry. Okay, so let's fix that right there.
Okay, since we're talking about casual and competitive or fun and competitive, are you able to flip that switch easily?
Oh yeah, I mean even during competitive events, I'll still talk about the funnest play of the game or something, even if it didn't benefit me. Like if your opponent pulls off something super cool that you didn't see coming and it works, and you're like, wow, man, that was awesome. I Gamer sits around and listens to me and replay, you would swear we hated each other. And in the moment, we're not happy with each other. Like we're not happy with something the other person did, or we're just frustrated because we're both competitive guys. But we also let it go. Like when the game's over, it's over, and we talk about just as trying to be good teammates of like what could you have done better here, what do you think about what I did here, and stuff like that. But yeah, they're in the moment. Yeah, it's rough. But I never want to be the reason a person leaves an event and says, "Man, that guy was not cool. Like that guy was not fun to play with. He complained the whole time. All he did was complain. Like it wasn't fun to sit at the table with him. Like that's not worth it to me. Like I'm not there to ruin people's days or time. Like it's so hard as adults to find that time to just let yourself go and have fun and enjoy it that it's not worth being the dude that ruins somebody else's day.
Wizkids
Agree.
hires you to add a power to the PAC. He said, Pete, we need a new power. What is it and why?
Ooh, that's a good question. So we have the two rollouts. We have pre-attack, post-attack, right? So that's pretty good. I don't know what else you would do there. You can attack twice from close with flurry. Poison's poison. In cap, smoke cloud. What else would it be? Huh. I don't want to say two attacks from range because that feels a little bit overboard, right? Like that seems like something that shouldn't exist. That's a good question.
Well, what's something you would change?
Well, there's just certain powers like I don't use, so like I just don't think about them. But um, I think there needs to be something else, kind of like an Earthbound neutralized. Like I think there needs to be not always just strictly beneficial powers. Like the nice thing about Earthbound neutralized, the nice things about like Battle Furies, it's not always beneficial. And so sometimes in comics, like things happen, it's not always beneficial. So I think having something like that, but how it would work, I'd have to really think about it. I don't have a good answer. I'm sorry.
I want something that gives Earthbound Neutralize. Like an outwit says you can't use a defensive power, but if I could give you Earthbound Neutralize, then I take away your improved movements or improved targeting. Or, yeah, improved movement, improved targeting. So I feel like
Yeah.
that is something that should be implemented somehow, some way.
And I think anytime you alter the pack, like it's always like a little difficult. Like one thing that has always drove me nuts about Heroclix is mechanic of stealth. Like, so that guy's in stealth in a bush, but you can't see the guy behind him. Like, how does that work, right? Like, so come on, but it's a game at some point. It exists on a 2D board, so you kind of have to allow for something. So,
Who's the most famous person you've actually met?
Kenny Rogers, strangely, and he's a lot shorter than you think he is. Seriously, like super super short guy, but yeah, so I met Kenny Rogers. We won like some contest, and my mom and dad were super excited about it. I won it like through school or something. He was doing like a holiday special in our town, and so yeah, I got to meet and get my picture taken with Kenny Rogers.
Cats or dogs?
Nice.
I have both. I have a dog named Loki. He's an 80-pound bull terrier. He's a little obese, but we love him. And then I have a cat that I've had for, oh man, Peyton's 17 years old. She's the best pet I've ever had. She's just super chill, like just a complete people person, like just a great, great pet. She survived my kids as little kids. Just the most patient animal I've ever seen in my life.
Got the next one ready.
What is
Why
it?
is Eternals? Why is Eternals the best Marvel movie?
I loved Eternals. I mean, it was as a standalone movie, it's super fun, right? It introduces the idea of the Celestials, which just seemingly fell off the face of the earth. Like the Eternals are great characters. I was really hoping to build towards like the Avengers with Hercules and Black Knight and Cersei. That's one of my favorite Avengers teams are super fun to me. And I liked the introduction of Black Knight, and then it just kind of disappeared. I didn't hate it Eternals at all. I thought it was wildly fun. I didn't. The one thing I didn't like is they kind of tied up it a little bit too well with the Eternals. You know what I'm saying? Like their enemies are always there. Like they're kind of two sides of the same coin because of the Celestials, and they kind of just left you with the fact that they're all of their enemies are gone now.
I've
Okay,
always
so what's your
felt
favorite comic movie?
Oh, good question. My favorite comic movie. Man, wow. Um, I'm trying to come up with a Miles answer of something really obscure, but I'm just blanking on everything right now.
Unbreakable.
Uh, Unbreakable is a great movie, and even up through the trilogy of Unbreakable is a great movie. Um, but I think probably my favorite comic movie is probably Avengers: Infinity War. It just felt huge. Like the things that happened, like the moments at the end, they're fighting Thanos, the whole Avengers assemble, like just phenomenally done. And so like I'm old enough to remember where like you didn't talk to people and tell people that you read comics, right? It was too geeky in school. Like you hit it when you found somebody else that read comics language you had. So to have it hit as mainstream as it has now is just so I anything comics related I was consuming even when it was just truly terrible stuff like the the really truly old like Fantastic Four movies and things like that. Like just stuff you would not watch now. I'm not even talking the ones with Jessica Alba and that. Those were okay. I'm talking the ones before that. So
uh, circling back to Eternals. I've always thought that the movie would make a great Disney Plus show, where each episode they spend in a certain time period, then next episode they're in a different time period, and then the finale ties it all together. I thought it would make a much better TV show than a movie.
right, and they kind of ignored that, right? Like clearly the internals have been here. Like Druid was affecting parts of humanity in that. Like that just kind of never got brought up again until a couple of things in the shows. And the shows are really great. Like honestly, the shows are there's not many of them that I haven't truly enjoyed just watching.
Yep.
I think that the Hawkeye one was okay, not great. I think the Miss Marvel one was okay, not great. But all the other ones I've really enjoyed a lot.
Moon Knight was good.
Yes.
Mhm.
What number am I thinking of?
Three digits.
Ooh, 7-Eleven.
No. All right. So one of my favorite questions is always the Thanos snap, but I am adjusting that because it's not a really fair question. My new go-to question is if superheroes were real, if tomorrow a man is flying around, bulletproof, just godlike powers, are we accepting him as a society, or are we more on the side of Lex Luthor and feel like he's a threat to humanity?
That's a good question. I think in today's day and age, unfortunately, we're pretty jaded, and so that poor guy, even though he might be trying to do all the right things, represented in a lot of places just based on somebody else's viewpoint. So I think we probably are more Lex Luthors than saying that the Man of Tomorrow is here to save the day.
Well, you personally.
It'd be different, right? Like I'd be so say someone like Superman or Sentry or whoever knockoff Superman showed up, it'd be completely dynamic changing for the world. So it's I think I would be a little skeptical. I've gotten a little old and a little jaded, so I'd probably be Lex Luthor.
How do you feel about it, Scott?
I mean, I would like to give the person, alien, whatever, the benefit of the doubt and see what happens, but you have to have a contingency plan.
Now, what if it was a human vigilante just going around night with a mask and beating up bad guys? Or is society in general going to be more accepting of that? And are you personally going to be more
Um,
accepting of that?
Personally, I think it would be fine if a vigilante's out there doing something like that, but their code of ethics would need to align with the populace code of ethics because I think jaywalking is fine for me to do. Doesn't mean I want to get beat up for doing it at night.
Right,
Yeah.
correct. Correct.
I mean, look at that
Like
guy
the poor
that
guy that's
shot the
working security at
billionaire.
LexCorp.
Look at the guy that shot the billionaire a couple months ago. He was regarded as a hero.
I mean, that's a touchy subject to some people. I
Yeah.
feel like he felt slighted due to certain things, so that was the action he decided he needed to take. Could there have been other alternative actions? Maybe. Maybe in reality 617 he did something different. I don't know. 616 he did what he did.
Like everybody's a hero in their own story, right?
Not always.
What do you think,
No,
Pete?
I think unfortunately that people are allowed to make bad decisions in addition to good ones, and too often, the bad ones get brought up to light and poured over and perseverated on, and not enough of the good ones. So I think in that case, I don't. I think there's probably better ways to approach bringing light to a pretty serious thing, right? Like, why do insurance companies not cover stuff? Like that's not fair to the people that pay for it and that. But you know, that's that's rough, man. Like, it's just rough. Like, it was cold blooded, premeditated murder, unfortunately.
Yeah, I only
And
bring him
I
up
don't.
because he's a perfect current example of somebody taking the law into their own hands. And the
Mhm.
general public did not side with the law on that side for most part. And I'm thinking about all the vigilante superheroes we have of Batman and Daredevil. That Punisher is a good one. Like if there was a veteran out there just taking names and kicking ass, would we rally around him or would we say, hey, no, he needs to go to jail for killing those bad people?
The media is a pretty powerful thing, so I think however version of that you subscribe to would be what you were selected to and pushed to believe. I mean, right now my phone's listening to whatever I'm talking about. If I suddenly go in the house and start talking to my wife about camping, I'm suddenly going to get ads for tents, right? So our world has become more and more where it kind of selects for us and it kind of puts us down into this echo chamber. And I think that's something that we could all try to avoid a little bit more.
All right, so Miles, Aqua Miles, and Hollywood Miles are not the same person. So you are not obligated to say Aqua Miles. Okay, he's another person completely than that, who is on the podcast with you. Are you Team Aqua Miles or Team Westpool?
Man, that's a good question. But I'm gonna hate to disappoint Westpool, but I'm gonna have to go Team Aqua Miles. But it was not an easy decision, I'll tell you that.
I mean, it's Scuba Pete. He's obviously going to be the sidekick for Aqua Miles.
We're gonna put together a search party for Aqua Miles pretty soon. He's been gone a long time, so
I think Westpool took him out personally, but Hollywood Miles says that's not true. So we'll see.
you can't trust Hollywood Miles. It's Hollywood Miles.
Right?
Well, Matthew Pete Peterson, that was the Clix questionnaire. You're now officially known by the Heroclix community. They know you inside and out. They've seen your soul. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. And I'm sorry that they had to witness all of that. But I hope you guys made it to the end of the episode, or at least to the part of it, right?
And I'm sorry for making quite the sweatshop again, especially for Scott, 'cause I know he's got a schedule to keep.
Uh,
I do want to give a shout out to John Hoffner. He is our sponsor with his Clix Creator 3D printing. You guys got to see a sampling of what he's making during my live stream yesterday. He's making all kinds of really cool Clix cases and dice and tokens and the really awesome deity bases with the tanks and the jeeps. The glow in the dark, the light up lantern batteries. If you can think of it, he can create it. I know a couple people that have just shot some ideas to him, and his brain is just firing off a million miles a minute. So make sure you check out John Hoffner if you need anything created for your Heroclix game or anything else. But that's been our show. Scott, do you have any final thoughts before we sign off?
No, I just want to say thanks, Pete, and thanks to the sweatshop for letting Pete out so he can be on the show.
I'm gonna have to clock in here, I'm sure, pretty soon. I wanted to say thanks, guys, for having me on. I hope everybody enjoyed seeing the Pete studio here out of the old Midwestern garage where the magic happens. And you and Scott, you and Wes, it's an awesome venture that you're doing, and it's really fun to learn about other Clix players through your guys' interactions. So thank you.
Well, we really appreciate you being here. I, for one, definitely consider you a Clix celebrity, so I am honored to be in your presence, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think I'm more Clix infamous than Clix famous, but thanks, Wes. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, everybody, that has been Talking Clix with Matthew Peterson. Now we know the in-depth of what makes Pete. So thank you, Pete, for being here. Look forward to rolling dice with you. Are you going to Origins?
I'm still working on that. I think it's looking pretty good though. It's looking pretty good. I know I'll definitely be at Worlds, and I'm doing my best. And Worlds is one, and then honestly, Red, White, and Clix is 1A. So if I can make those two out of the rest of the year, I'll be pretty happy.
Well, I've got a pretty good 300 modern team I've been working on. Scott knows about it. It's not meta defining, but I think it'll catch a lot of people off guard, so I'm excited about it. So hopefully we'll roll some dice together.
Yeah, man, I'd love to. Scott, thank you so much. It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir. I think I did meet you at Worlds last year. I was Sub-Zero.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I didn't recognize you without the ninja outfit
Without the mask on. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah, good to see you again.
Well, thank you so much for being here, both of you. I really appreciate both of you and what you guys bring to the community. Make sure you like and subscribe to Degeneration Clix. They do put long episodes out there, but seriously, I enjoy every minute of it, and so do a lot of other people. So make sure you like and subscribe to them. And like and subscribe to our show. It does make a difference when we get our subscriptions up. We're at, I think, 69 right now, 68, 69. If we hit 100, Scott and I are going to do something special. So let's get those likes and subscribes up, and I'll be seeing you out there. Everybody out there in Heroclix land,
Keep
on clixing. Have a good night.
And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya!
Click it!